I act cold and indifferent because it's easier than showing you how much you've come to mean to me. It's safer to keep my feelings hidden behind a wall of pretense. I pretend to dislike you because it's a defense mechanism against the vulnerability I feel when I'm around you. If I admit how much I care, I fear it will expose a side of me I'm not ready to share. I hide behind my resentment because I don't know how to cope with the way you make me feel. If I were to acknowledge the depth of my feelings, I fear I would lose control. The real reason I pretend to dislike you is because I'm afraid of getting hurt. If I let you in, I risk losing everything, and that's something I'm not ready to face. I act like I don't care because it's easier than facing the reality of how much you've come to mean to me. I'd rather keep you at arm's length than risk getting hurt. I pretend to dislike you because I'm afraid of how much I've started to rely on you. Letting you know how much I need you might make me vulnerable in a way I'm not prepared for. I hide my feelings behind this mask of indifference because I'm scared of the intensity of what I feel. If I admit how much I care, I might just lose control over everything. I pretend to dislike you because it's easier to protect my heart from potential pain. If I admit how much I care, I'm afraid it will only set me up for disappointment. It's not that I don't like you, it's that I'm afraid of how deeply you've begun to affect me. I don't know how to handle the emotions you stir, so I hide behind anger. I act like I can't stand you because I'm not sure how to navigate these overwhelming feelings. Admitting that I care would mean admitting that I'm vulnerable, and that's a place I'm not ready to go. The real reason I pretend to dislike you is because it's easier to push you away than to deal with the fear that comes with loving someone. It's safer to keep my distance than to risk getting hurt. I hide behind my anger because I'm scared of the power you have over me. The more I try to distance myself, the more I realize that I can't escape what I feel. I pretend to dislike you because I'm afraid of losing control. The truth is, I'm scared of how deeply I've become invested in you, and that's not something I know how to handle. I act distant because I don't want to let you see how much I care. I'm afraid that if you knew the truth, you would pull away, and I can't bear the thought of losing you. I pretend to dislike you because I'm afraid of what would happen if I let you get too close. The truth is, I don't know how to balance my fear of loving you with the desire to let you in. I put on this act of indifference because it's easier than confronting the truth about how much you've come to mean to me. It's safer to keep you at a distance than to admit that I might be falling for you. I pretend to dislike you because I'm afraid that if you see how much I care, it'll make me vulnerable to you in ways I'm not ready for. I hide behind my anger because it feels like protection. It's easier to act like I don't care than to admit that I'm afraid of how much you've become a part of my life. The more I try to push you away, the more I realize I don't want to lose you. I pretend to dislike you because the thought of loving you terrifies me. If I let you in, I risk everything I've worked to protect, and that's something I'm not willing to do. I act cold because I'm scared that if you knew how much I care, it would change everything. I'm afraid that the truth about my feelings will ruin what we have. The real reason I pretend to dislike you is because I'm afraid that if I let myself feel for you, I'll lose control. I don't know how to handle these emotions, so I hide behind a mask. I hide behind anger and resentment because I'm scared of the power you have over me. If I admit how much I care, it might mean letting go of the walls I've built around my heart. I pretend not to like you because I'm afraid of what you might do with my feelings. The idea of being vulnerable with you scares me, and that's why I push you away. I act like I can't stand you because I don't know how to express what I'm feeling. The more I try to distance myself, the more I realize that I'm not fooling anyone, not even myself. I pretend to dislike you because I don't want to face how much I depend on you. Letting you know how much I care would be a risk I'm not willing to take. I hide my feelings behind this pretense of dislike because I'm afraid of what loving you might mean. I don't know how to balance my fear with my desire to be close to you. I act like I don't care because I'm scared that if I let you see how much I feel, you'll pull away. The truth is, I care more than I'm willing to admit. I pretend to dislike you because it's easier than admitting that you have become a powerful force in my life, something I don't know how to navigate. It's easier to push you away than face the vulnerability your presence stirs within me. Sometimes I pretend to dislike you because it feels safer than being honest with myself. The truth is, I'm afraid of how much I care, and I'm terrified of what that might mean for me. I act like I don't care because I fear that if I let my guard down, you'll see just how much you've come to mean to me. The walls I put up are just my way of protecting myself from feelings I don't know how to deal with. It's easier to pretend I don't like you than to face the reality that I might be falling for someone who isn't supposed to be in my life. My defense mechanism is simply pushing you away, even if it means I lose you forever. I hide behind my anger and disdain because I don't know how to express the vulnerability I feel inside. It's easier to act like you're the problem than to admit that I'm scared of what's happening between us. I pretend to dislike you because admitting how much I care would mean risking everything. And right now, I'm not ready for that kind of vulnerability. It's easier to keep my feelings buried in resentment than face the truth. I hide behind my indifference because I'm afraid that if you knew how much you meant to me, you would walk away. It's easier to reject you than to face the heartache that could come from loving you. It's easier for me to act like I can't stand you than to admit how deeply I'm drawn to you. I'm not sure I can handle the intensity of what I feel without losing myself in it. I pretend to dislike you because I'm not ready to confront the emotions that your presence awakens in me. The truth is, I'm scared of the way you make me feel alive in a way I've never experienced before. It's not that I dislike you, it's that I'm afraid of what my feelings for you might mean. I hide behind the act of pretending so that I don't have to confront the vulnerability of letting you get close. I pretend to hate you because deep down, I'm afraid of how much I care. It's a defense mechanism I've built to protect myself from the fear of being hurt by someone I can't stop thinking about. I act distant and indifferent because I'm afraid of losing control. I don't know how to balance the pull you have on my heart with the fear of what it means to love someone this much. The real reason I pretend to dislike you is because admitting that I have feelings for you would shatter the image I've built around myself. It's easier to keep my distance than to risk being vulnerable. I put on this mask of dislike because it's the only way I know how to protect myself. The thought of loving you scares me more than I can admit, so I push you away, hoping you won't notice the depth of my feelings. Sometimes I act like I can't stand you because I'm afraid that if I let you in, I'll lose myself in you. I've been hurt before, and it's easier to push you away than to risk being hurt again. I pretend not to care because I'm scared of how deeply you've begun to affect me. If I let myself admit it, I might just lose the control I've worked so hard to maintain. I put on this tough exterior because I'm terrified of feeling vulnerable. If you knew how much you meant to me, I might just crumble under the weight of that truth. It's easier for me to pretend that I dislike you than to acknowledge how much I care. The more I try to distance myself, the more I realize I'm only fooling myself. I act like I don't care because if I admit how much you mean to me, I fear it will expose a side of me I'm not ready to face. It's easier to hide behind anger than to let you see the soft, tender side of me. The reason I act like I dislike you is because I'm scared of how much my feelings for you have grown. It's easier to pretend to be indifferent than to admit that I might be falling for you. I hide my feelings behind this mask of dislike because I don't know how to handle the emotions you stir in me. I'm not ready to admit that I care more than I should. I pretend to dislike you because I'm afraid that if I let you close, you'll see all the parts of me I've been hiding for so long. It's safer to keep you at a distance than to risk revealing the truth. Sometimes I pretend to dislike you because I'm scared that if I acknowledge how much I care, it'll complicate everything. The truth is, I don't know how to navigate these feelings without losing control. I act like I can't stand you because I'm scared of how much I need you. If I let myself admit it, I might have to face the truth about how deeply you've gotten under my skin. I push you away because I'm afraid that if I get too close, I'll lose myself in the intensity of what I feel. It's easier to pretend that I don't care than to admit the truth about my emotions.